turn to the teacher. Turn to the teacher. Turn to the teacher. Turn to the teacher. Turn to the
And welcome back. I'm Mike with the Turntable Teachers and Classes back in session. Here for another guest speaker episode at AOA Studios. If you're an artist, podcaster, or content creator of any kind, make sure to reach out to us at aoastudios.org to book your session or service today. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined today by an incredibly special guest. He might not seem that recognizable to a lot of you because he really isn't a traditional member of the Boston music scene. He is now and has been for a number of years because he's a Berklee College of music student. But he's originally from Kentucky. He's the first Kentucky person we've ever ever had on the show. So that's really cool. And you're one of the first country bluegrass folk artists we've had on the show too, which is really cool. Everyone, I want to introduce you to Kyle Ray, joining the Turntable Teachers. Thank you for being here, bro.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Of course, I want to shout out a couple people. Violet, of course, your manager.
We love Violet, bro. Violet. Oh.
Violet's incredible. Big shout out to you, Violet. She reached out and got us acquainted, and I was very enamored by our like video call that three of us had, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna get this guy on. This sounds really cool.
Dude, she's the fucking best. Nah, like if I call my producer my right hand man, and Violet my left-handed woman, bro. My left-hand woman, bro. She is so. God love that woman.
She's incredible. And I want to shout out Bensels and Maz, who actually said that they knew you. And Ben specifically said, yo, you got to see this dude perform. He's incredible. And so I trust Ben.
So sweet, dude. It's so sweet.
He is. I trust Ben's judgment there. Bro, so I really do.
Those two are also kick-ass. We've played, I don't know if we've played, I think we've played one or two shows together. Mm-hmm. Bro. I love their energy so much, and I also watched their interview with you, dude. How they are in that conversation with you is just how they are in general.
I know I said that so many times on the podcast.
They're fucking great.
It's like it was authentically them.
Yeah, like just goofy asses doing goofy shit, and it's the best.
The Greta Thunberg dream song. I'll never forget. I'll never forget. I didn't know what to do after. I was just like, I think we're done. This is
how do you
even continue after that?
No, you can't, bro.
They're unreal. But no, we love Ben. He's worked a few of our shows as well, and just getting to know both of them has been really great. And I
ran into him yesterday at a fucking 7-Eleven, and I told him that what I was doing today, and he was like, I was like, what did he say, man? I asked him what he was doing, because I just ran into him, and he was like, I'm a little high. I'm gonna get some Johnstons from the Sevies, and I'm gonna leave. And I was like, all right. I was like, I'll check you later, bro. I'm actually doing the turntable stuff pretty soon. And he was like, that's the homie. I was like, all right. That's
a pretty good Bensels impression too. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, no way. That brother is so unique.
He really is
so unique.
He really is.
I love him so much.
He is. I'd say you're pretty unique too. I mean, again, maybe just for me, not meeting a lot of people from Kentucky, not knowing many people from Kentucky. Maybe I'm just thinking you're unique because of that. But I was noticing off air, right before we started literally rolling, you just you can't sit still, the tapping and all that. You're such a musician, bro.
Yeah, dude.
You must have been such a pain in the ass for some of your teachers,
dude. I was
being a former teacher,
They fucking hated me. They hated me so much. If it wasn't the teachers, it was the students, because I was always, I don't know, tapping with a pencil, fingers or something. Mm-hmm. But also was just kind of a fucking asshole. I was dude, I had a real close group of buddies growing up in high school that I practically grew up with from elementary. And we fucking terrorized our teachers. Dude, there were times where so I had a couple science teachers. Oh man, I had a Spanish teacher Take that back. My buddies had a Spanish teacher. I didn't even have fucking class with this man. Shout out Mr. Christie.
If you're watching, which I don't know if you are, but
that brother, I didn't even have class with him. And bro, me and my friends tortured that man, bugged him every day. We had a science class together. We had I think it was just like a fucking biology class or something. And we had this sweet soul of a teacher, and we terrorized her. We would come into class. We'd get there early, and I would fucking hide under her desk and wait for her to roll a chair in to do attendance, and I'd fucking grab her ankles real hard.
Holy shit.
I'd just fucking scream, and she'd freak the fuck out. And like, dude, to the point where like, dude, me and my friends, we did not fit in. Okay, like we didn't do this for the entertainment of others. Like, it was just anything for the bit. Like, that was pretty much the entire way we lived our lives. And like, there was just so much stupid shit like that. I got into the ceiling, and this was my fucking junior year. This wasn't like my freshman year of high school. I was like almost 18 years old. And I had this fucking math class, and I climbed into the ceiling. I climbed onto this locker, and it's just like these tiles where you can kind of like push it up and move it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, dude, I won't fall through. Because I'll put my weight on the metal. And I fell through, and I didn't like hit the ground, but like I fell through right as she came in, and I just like froze, and she just kind of like looked at me and was just like, how did you get up there? That's all she said was just, how did you get up there?
That would have been my first question too, honestly.
And I just was like, kind of like realizing there was like moments, I just kind of did shit as a kid where I was just like, this would be funny. I'm going to do that. Mm-hmm. And you don't really like think about the consequences or like the ways that could potentially go wrong. Yeah. And there were a lot of times where that happened, and I just really put myself in a shit position, bro. But yeah, no, teachers in high school, they either fucking loved me or hated me. There was no in between.
There was no in between.
Yeah, the ones who loved me and were kind to me were the ones that I probably fucked with the most, and I think I'm sorry about that. I wouldn't.
Is that what they say though? Sometimes, if you mess with somebody, it's like term of endearment at points.
Yeah,
right?
It's like, oh, dude, they get me.
We wouldn't. You and I would not have gotten along then, probably. No, because I'm a patient dude. Like any of my former students that listen to this or are listening, like I'm a patient guy. I'll let a lot slide. Mm-hmm. But you kind of hit a point with me, and that's about it. You know what I mean? So I'll hit my limit. Yeah. So
no, I definitely liked the challenge too. So I would have just kept going. Yeah. Like as a kid, I did not like being told what to do. I didn't like school. I was good at it. Mm-hmm. I got good grades. I'd never studied or did anything like that, and I think that's why I got away with a lot of shit. Was because like, it's kind of hard to tell the kid who's doing all right in school, like, hey, quit being a fucking idiot all of the time.
No, I get it.
It's like, well, hey, like I had an officer, had a truancy officer show up to my doorstep, because that was also kind of something I was known for in high school. I just like never came. I would miss like on average like 40 days of school a year. Wow. Dude. Fucking terrible attendance, but like so I had a truancy officer come, and he was like, what are my dad, shout out the old man, he was like what are his grades, like, my son's not doing drugs, he's not fucking dead, he's not doing stupid shit, and his grades are good, and so you're gonna come on to my property and threaten to take him out of school or do some other kind of stupid shit like that. And so which my old man's a little brash when it comes to like being protective over his kids and stuff. Like, dude, I should have been going to fucking school. I should have been going to school. I should not have gotten used to skipping school because that fucked me over in college. Mm-hmm. Also, I should have studied in high school because that also fucked me over in college, bro. Dude, if you studied in high school and if you were one of the kids that had to study in high school and you were mad at the kids that didn't have to, don't worry, bro. They went to college and they fucking got shit all over. And in fact, they probably might not even be in college anymore because I've struggled I don't know how I'm here still. It's the whole thing.
Well,
so.
I'm glad you've kind of like came full circle now. You're kind of saying that sentiment. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's really funny. Well, you already started the objective, which is the segment where we get to know a little bit about you and your background. You've already given us a lot about your background,
my bad, bro.
I'm
a yapper,
don't
professional yapper.
Well, this is the perfect platform for that because this is a podcast and we want you to yap. So no, I appreciate it, but. Growing up in Kentucky, I want to talk to you about that, just because it's fascinating to me, and it's going to be fascinating to a lot of the listener base that we have that most of them aren't from Kentucky. Would be my guess, which is fine. I'm not offended, but maybe we'll get a little bit more after this. So I'm sort of enamored with something about growing up in Kentucky or the South in general that a typical person in the Northeast might know nothing about, like whether it be culture or something socially that we just wouldn't understand being up from the Northeast.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a few things. I think when I moved here, it was pretty shocking because there's just no way to prepare people for culture shock. There just really isn't, which is why it's fucking called shock, right? Culture shock. But I will say people have an open-mindedness that people, I think, here don't think that they do. Regardless of anything, it's like, oh, y'all come on in. Fucking kick your shoes off, come eat. Like if you're coming over, you're eating. If you're a parent and your kids come over, or like your kids' friends come over, they're eating, they're being fed, they have a bed. Like there's none of that shit. There's like I don't know. People are just so easily open and social. When you drive, my Southerners don't know this. When you drive and you pass somebody going down the other street, you just give them one of those. And just because you got your arm here, maybe you got your arm on the stick, right? And you're driving and you just lift up your three right here. Yeah. It's just a nice little wave as somebody passes by. Like people are, I don't know, people are just social. There's not much to do. That's another thing too. Like kids create their fun, right? Like here, it always kind of pissed me off when people would be like, oh, there's nothing to do. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like my friends and I had to, which is why we were shitheads, but we had to like create our own fun there, and like a lot of that kind of just involves working all week, saving money, then to dump in gas so you can just fucking drive around for hours, and just little stuff like that, like sweet tea is sweeter, desserts are better, and I'll take all that fucking shade. I'll take all of that. Y'all motherfuckers, dude, I got here and I was so excited. That was the one thing I was excited for. I got here.
Really? You're excited for desserts here?
Dude, yeah, because I had heard so much talk about like, Italian desserts and like all of these like pretty things. Now, some of them are very good, okay? And it might just be me being exposed to the wrong things by the wrong people.
Well, what'd you try? I'm curious.
That's another thing, dude. I wouldn't be able to tell you what I tried.
You wouldn't even
I don't know I don't know how to pronounce half of that shit, and maybe that's just, me being an asshole and like not doing my research enough. But like, would you care to remember the name of something that you didn't give a shit about?
Well, no, if I didn't give a shit about it, no, definitely not.
Precisely.
But, yeah.
No, but so like, the desserts here, the South does that better. And I'll die on that hill, dude.
I believe
you don't know shit about desserts until you've had apple pie, peach cobbler, blackberry cobbler. Oh my God, bro. Y'all are lacking. Dude, your cheesecake, all right, I'll give you that. The key lime pie, I'll give you that one too. But nah, dude. There's just like, yeah. It's also sweet tea here. It's shit. They obviously changed the recipes to, fit you guys. And I'm glad that you guys are okay with that. But it really sucks. Like, it really fucking sucks. I make my shit at home now. Shout out Lipton Tea. poor man's tea right there. That's the good shit.
Awesome. That's funny. No, well, there's a couple of things I wanted to say off of that. First, like when I have traveled down south, that is one thing I do notice. Like you don't get as many people. Like you walk down the street here, like people kind of keep to themselves. You get a lot of people saying hello to you.
Yeah, just
south.
a hey, man.
Just a hey.
Yeah, like
just a
we
hi.
acknowledge the existence. Of
And I have appreciated that when I've traveled down south. Like
Yeah.
I've been to Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas. I've been to Nashville, New Orleans, and I found in all those places, especially, like I felt that people, or at least when you walk into an establishment, they're typically more. There is that Southern hospitality thing. It is I think it is a real thing. You know, obviously,
it is.
It feels that there's an authenticity there at least with that. So that's interesting. And then I had another, actually, so one of the artists I managed is a little bit of a different, obviously, geographical thing, but kind of similar to what you were talking about. He grew up in like, barn farm land of Connecticut, which isn't the South. It's a little different. You still have some major, I shouldn't say that. You've major cities in Kentucky too.
There's some cultural things that we definitely could relate on, for sure.
With him specifically, right? Because like he talks a lot about that with me, whether it was on his episode when he came on, but also when we were general, like similar thing of like there wasn't just a lot to do, so that's why he got in trouble so often. Because that's just they created their own trouble. Versus like you are right, where like in the Northeast, there's a lot to do. Like I don't want to hear anybody saying there's nothing to do, because it's the truth. Like you can access city, beach, and mountains within like an hour and a half drive, mostly of wherever you are.
Oh, that's another thing. Here's another huge fucking cultural difference. Everything's like 45 minutes away by car max. Like, dude, and that's like, all of the shit that y'all do have to do that you may not think that you have to do is all either in walking distance or it's like a 45-minute drive.
It's not far.
It's not shit. It's not shit.
Yeah.
Because, like, dude, where I'm from, I drove, like, going to school in the mornings, I drove 30 minutes to school.
Wow.
And I drove, like, and in certain places, like...
I wonder why you weren't going to school.
Well, I drive. I just play hooky, bro.
No,
but,
obviously, yeah. It's more of a joke.
Yeah. But, that's another thing. Like, when I moved here, I was like, holy shit. In 45 minutes, I'm in a completely different state where I can buy the cigarettes that I like, because Boston doesn't sell menthol cigarettes.
I don't smoke cigarettes, so I wouldn't know that. But
or menthol jewel pods or whatever, bro.
That sounds
It
accurate.
does suck, bro. It sucks real bad.
So you drive up to New Hampshire, I'm sure?
Yeah, I drive up. Go out there, no sales tax. I fucking like New Hampshire.
Well, I was about to say you would like New Hampshire, and you'd like a lot of rural parts of New York and Connecticut, because it would probably remind you somewhat of where, like, growing up. Like, there's this one. I grew up around here, so I'm familiar with more of like what you're experiencing from day to day. But I love the mountains. Like when I was down in the Smoky Mountains, beautiful, because I've done a lot of like the Appalachian Mountains up this way. I've done a lot of Maine. I've done a lot of New Hampshire, Vermont, whatever. And then me and my fiance, well, she was my fiance then, but a couple years ago we took a road trip. And we stayed in North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, and we did the smoke.
Yeah,
it was nice.
Asheville's great.
Oh, it was beautiful. We got this like amazing Airbnb. It was like right in like a valley of the mountain. You had like literally like a mountain view from like the porch. It was sun setting behind it.
It's gorgeous,
incredible.
God's country. God's country
is
awesome,
really, and even just the drive, right? Like driving through Virginia and some of those areas, like you see a lot of that, and it's really the countryside is beautiful out there. Like
Cheers, pop.
Oh yeah, yeah, they did. I don't think I was like expecting that to happen either. You know what I mean? It's funny you just said that. I'm like, wait a second, that's weird. I only have that on the plane. So, just from that standpoint, though, it was really cool to like experience a different part of the country, like from that perspective of like even the mountains being slightly different than what I'm used to, which is really cool. So, but no, that's why I do love living up here from that standpoint of like you have all those options, like, and I'm just used to having that. Maybe we're just spoiled and naive to the options that we do have living up here. You know what I mean?
The grass is always greener. Of course, like know, like it's. I'm not. I joke a lot when I give y'all shit for that, but at the same time, like I would not have changed where I grew up or how.
Of course.
Because like there's something so grounding and touching and peaceful, and it to growing up around and just being completely surrounded by nature all of the time.
Right.
And I took that for granted growing up, because I think everybody takes for granted their hometown,
Of course.
when they grow
I
up.
agree with that.
But you know, especially once I moved out here, I kind of realized the just how important that is for me. And it, like, I definitely pushed away my culture and like my hometown and everything as I grew up. Like, I was like, oh, I don't fit in here, you know, like, I'm too cool for this place, and like hid my accent and everything else. And it just, I don't know. You know, I think I just tried to, I don't know. I think I got so focused on trying to define myself and like who I wanted to be, instead of understanding like there are parts of my home that are inherently part of who I am, and there's
100%.
nothing wrong with that. Like,
No.
you know, like it was, and that feels like obvious, you know, but I think for me it was weird, especially too with like some of the shit that I definitely grew up with an intense childhood. And so like, you know, I think my response to everything was just like, I have to push everything away. And then, you know, as you get older and you kind of revisit things, you forgive people, you kind of move on, you work through shit, you know, you focus on your own mental whatever, you know, you're like, oh, okay, you know. And
Yeah.
so like it kind of took me actually crashing out here in order to figure all that out. But
Yeah, because I think that, you know, they say that, you know, that those kind of weird sayings of like, or the corny sayings of like, you know, the distance makes the heart grow fonder, and like just kind of like that understanding.
corny,
too, of,
cliche,
like,
stereotype.
but it's the truth.
It's all that shit. I mean, it's there for a reason.
Yeah,
And it means the world.
That is a good perspective, because I mean, I can relate to a lot of that, what you're saying as well, because, you know, I without really knowing your circumstance either, but, you know, I definitely had an interesting and at points difficult childhood. I'm not going to sit here and say I had like the hardest childhood of anybody ever, but like, you know, I had my traumas and my trials and tribulations and things I had to kind of get through. And like you said, like people we had to forgive, and sort of the things about myself I had to forgive, right?
Yeah,
or
that's
even
a big
like
one.
understand
That's a
too,
big
you know,
one.
of like, and get you know, give myself a break on some of that stuff too. But I think the beautiful thing now, though, is like you said, as you get a little bit older, I think that context also starts to become a lot clearer. You know, like just being, you know, I'm 30 now, and it's like, you know, I think the things that even I was pushing away in my earlier 20s, you know, even at that late of my life, like I look back now, I'm like, why didn't I just deal with that earlier and just embrace it? Because like I see it now, and I'm like, it's not. It was really silly that I had those, you know, those thoughts about myself just because of a way I grew up. Like that doesn't make sense. Like that circumstance of how I grew up doesn't need to be like the circumstance that I'll create for like myself, my future family, that whole sort of thing. So
that goes for like all backgrounds too.
Totally.
Like, you know, like I definitely grew up with like less. I grew up pretty broke, you know, and I grew up broke. And I've had to fight fucking tooth and nail for literally everything that I have now. And, you know, a lot of people will, whether it be other artists or whatever, you know, musicians and stuff, kind of like belittle their story and who they are because they, you know, didn't have to deal with some of this shit. Bro, no. Bro, here's something. If you're a person that has come from a better living standard than others, and you put down people for coming up in worse scenarios and worse cases, worse living situations, then we can all mutually agree that that's like bad and you're kind of shitty for that, right? The opposite is also true. Like you can't come from a place with, no one chooses where they came in, like, and how they grew up. And so to hold that against somebody is shitty. Like there's obviously lines where it's like, if somebody's trying to say that if somebody's glorifying poverty and trying to use that as like a way to market themselves and benefit off of others, off of, you know, this false sob story or whatever, then yeah, dude, call them out on that shit. That's kind of weird and lame. But if they're not, bro, and like you had resources, good. Your parents worked hard for that shit. And I hope to do the same for my kids and my family. Like if you're not actively doing that, what's the point?
Seriously.
Right? And so it's like, what? Okay, so I finally found success, and now I don't have, like, now me and my offspring or whomever is connected to me doesn't have a right to say anything about it. It is like total horse shit, which I'm confidently saying now while I'm broke as shit. So when in the future I keep this same narrative, you guys are all like, oh, you're just saying that because you're rich and it's easy for you to like money. No, bro. This is fucking, what is it, July 15th?
July 15th, 2024.
And I don't have rent for next month. And I eat off of my tip money. So, yeah, no, money doesn't mean shit. It comes and goes. And, like, if you use that in any capacity on any side to tether somebody's worth or what they're capable or allowed to say, that's horseshit and weird, bro. Like, there's more to people than that.
I like that perspective. I do. And I think you're hitting on something that is definitely... And maybe that's good for people to hear that are of that other side, where maybe they grew up and they had,
I mean, especially today,
privileges and stuff like that.
Yeah, especially today. I mean, everybody is very aware of each other's feelings and situations and stuff, and that's really good. There's nothing bad about that. In fact, that should have been happening. Yeah. But to also completely diminish anybody who's had anything, like, that's such horse shit. And I know, like, we live in the United States where we all love a fucking underdog story and everything else. Dude, that just doesn't mean shit. Like, the second you take money out of the equation, like, yeah, dude, it's I'm proud that I've worked through really tough shit. I'm glad that, like, I can say that I've busted my ass just to keep myself afloat, and now shit is, starting to work out for me. Mm-hmm. Fuck yeah. I wear that shit with pride, like, and not because, like, not pride in myself, but rather the faith that I had that God would get me through that. Mm-hmm. And, because maintaining faith is also hard, but that's a different conversation. But, to shit on somebody for having money or coming up in a better situation is so backwards and asinine, because, like, we're all trying to create that for our kids. And totally. Like, it's such, like, there's so many, like, if you do that, I hope that your children don't have to deal with that when you finally do find your success, because that's going to be like a rude awakening, and you're going to have to answer to a lot of shit for that.
Well, that's such a good point too, because, like, it's funny, just going off of that, I always thought that, I come from a family of divorce. I'm oldest of three. My mom ended up being a single mom, like, basically raised us her whole life. Yeah. And, we always had a roof over our heads. We always had a meal on the table, but we did have to bounce around and move around a lot because of that reason, where it's like, she didn't work for a long time while she was married, because it's just the situation that it was. Like, and it's funny something you had said earlier about, Southern hospitality. It's like, it's weird how similar some cultures are that they don't even realize it. Like, you're saying, like, Southern hospitality is like, oh, people coming over and there's always a meal and there's a bed. Yeah. Well, and I'm Italian. The Italians are exactly the same way. Oh, yeah. You would not have come over to my grandmother's house and you wouldn't have not only been fed, but then like half an hour later, she's probably trying to feed you again. You're like,
you're too skinny.
You're too skinny, Kyle. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. Dude, like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need?
Bro, grandparents kind of transcend culture. I think that's where, like, we all kind of finally meet in the middle.
Yeah,
everybody's mama is the same, bro.
Yeah,
everybody's papa's.
So there is similarity there, right? And
sure.
And then like I said, my dad's side of the family was mostly came from Italy. They migrated here. They were not from here, so like they created their own wealth as well for what they had. But then like I said, my mom was adopted and didn't have anything, and like same thing, she had to create what just from whatever. And it's funny. So I always just thought that, as I became a young adult in my 20s, like, I was actively looking for that in a partner, of somebody that had been through similar stuff that I had, like had a family situation that was exactly the same as mine. And it kept not working out, and I couldn't for the life of me understand why.
Imagine that, bro. Imagine that you're so unique, right? Yeah. It's like, yeah.
But then I ended up literally meeting somebody and that had the complete opposite as me, where had a great family situation, like parents that were home, great marriage, two huge families on both sides that were super supportive. I mean, not like rich or anything like that, but never had to really worry about all that. And like now it's incredible that we've come together and like we both realize like, oh wow, there was a lot that I could have learned, that I learned from you and from your family that I can now, that I didn't have, that I can now take away. And like she says the same about me, and now we can kind of come together and we're going to create a household that maybe is the best of those both worlds. And that's beautiful. I was like that we could come from two different, completely, like you said, two completely different living situations. And I don't resent her for how she grew up, and she doesn't exactly pity me or anything like that either. It's just like, it's recognizing what those are and being able to come together and say, hey, like this is what it is. So I think
there's a lot of people that are just envious, whether it be, whether it be the poor envying the rich or the rich envying the poor, and that's another thing too. It's like, if you're broke or you're poor and you're like, it's so easy for rich people, like, why would they do that? That's so, like, it's so easy for them to complain, or so easy to say, money doesn't mean shit. It's like, but also, like, just like it's hard for them to comprehend your struggles, you have no fucking clue. Dude, imagine, the cliche, like, it's not about the destination, it's the journey, right? Yeah. That shit's true, first of all. Second of all, imagine waking up at the destination, bro. Imagine waking up at the destination and not being able to experience the journey. Yeah, dude. You'd be like, money doesn't mean shit. And a lot of those people, pretty much every celebrity or every person who's ever made it, or, even businessmen, or just like people that, aren't even famous. They just have a lot of money. Like, dude, they're some of the loneliest fucking people in the world.
And have some of the biggest, most problems you would think. Like, I mean...
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I'd rather take worldly struggles than internal. Any day. Fucking any day. Like, dude, I am fine when the world comes at me and when the world challenges me, it's fuck you. Watch me. Watch me. You think I can't? I've gotten this fucking far and I'm gonna keep going. I'm, the big man favors me. All the glory to him. Like, I bear good fruit. I'm fine, but the second and my biggest, dude, oh my God, my biggest enemy has always been myself. It's always been myself. It's always been myself. And like, that's the thing, bro. Like, I'll take my peace. I'll take my peace right now. Like, dude, fuck that. Yeah, no, there's two sides to every coin.
You can't put a price on that, bro. You can't put a price on your own piece. No, this is a phenomenal conversation. I hate to like segue it, but
no, you're fine.
I appreciate this conversation. This is really cool. I want to talk to you a little bit more about like Kentucky and the music in Kentucky, because I feel as though, just from as an outsider perspective, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is that like if bluegrass, folk, country music just feels very essential to a place like Kentucky. So I'm curious for you, like how that was like growing up surrounded by all that music, and was that the reason why you decided to go in the direction you've gone in, even though your music, which we'll get to pretty soon here, is I think a cool modern spin on a lot of that style. But kind of take me through your like sort of musicality growing up. So that's kind of the thing. I was lucky enough to have parents from different places. Like my old man was from Ohio, and so was my mama. But she also she spent time in Virginia, some time in Houston or whatever, because my mom's mom bounced around a lot, whatever. I don't think she ever lived in Houston for too long, or I don't know if it was Houston or Dallas, whatever. Point being is like my parents were pretty cultured. My old man, when he got married to my mama, they before I was even born, he was in the Marine Corps. Okay. So he jumped around, and they lived in Florida, whatever. Parents were cultured. So they've seen a lot of the, at least at least a lot of the country, if not, some of the world for sure. Yeah.
None of the world. I don't know if they've ever been out, but they've definitely seen the country. But the point being is like Motown started. It did start in Ohio, and I'm going to say that confidently. I'm not going to second guess myself, and if I'm wrong, forgive me.
I want to say it was Detroit, Michigan. I want to say, but
Fuck.
similar-ish
We'll cut
area.
that out. Cut that in post. Cut that out, Jamie. Whatever, bro. Point being, I grew up in a lot of Motown and doo-wop because my old man was a grease monkey, which is just, a mechanic, whatever, Southern sayings. My bad.
No, I understood.
And so, but he loved hot rods. I grew up going to the racetracks and stuff, so there was always, fucking clean, pristine hot rods from the 50s and 60s and 70s, whatever, and just like, doo-wop was kind of the tone of that. But the country and the folk and stuff, that was just always around. It was always around, and kind of like I said earlier, like I really took it for granted. Now, I never took bluegrass for granted. I always really loved that. And it was very much part of the church that I like, the churches that I grew up in.
That makes sense.
That my family owned and whatnot. And so it was less it was less 200 beats per minute, pig in a pen, like like less of that and more so like Ralph Stanley, like just thick, nasally, harmonies, 4-part harmonies that just, there's just something so unique about them. I never took that for granted. I did take a lot of the country I grew up around for granted, because I also, when I was a kid, was really obsessed with Zeppelin.
Okay.
Zeppelin's my favorite band of all time. I think it's not even arguable. I think they're the greatest rock and roll band of all time. But also, I grew up listening to James Taylor. That was my biggest inspiration, I think, in terms of my writing. And Jackson Browne was another. Jackson Browne, James Taylor, Townes Van Zandt, and Blaze Foley, the Avett Brothers. Bands like that were either like, those were a little bit more hidden in terms of like folk artists or country. Everybody loves Merle Haggard. I would have never let you know that as a kid, but everybody loves Merle Haggard. Like everybody's just whatever, just stuff like that. But it was always so around, and I never I was in a country band when I was young because I started working real young and stuff and wanted to make money, and I realized I could make money a lot better and a lot more money if I just played drums. And so I made those. I was in a country band because, some older cats, everybody needs a drummer there. Everybody's got a guitar, and wants to sing. Nobody has a drummer.
Nobody has drums.
So everybody's like, hey dude, you want to play drums for me? And I was like, fuck yeah. And,
so you saw there's low supply here.
Yeah.
High demand.
I started on drums. I forget, that's not common knowledge. I started on drums, and that was my primary instrument. And dude, I was getting booked for all of those gigs, and I hated it. I fucking hated playing train beats, and I was just and I'd be like, can we play that fucking Jimi Hendrix song, dude? I'd be like, dude, can we, I was always something like that. I was just waiting for the opportunity to play anything other than country. And then I moved here, and that kind of changed because, dude, my first years here were so tough. They were so bad. And a lot of questioning myself and who I was and what I was doing and what I wanted to do and whatever, man. And I ended up, going back home for a while, and I dropped out of school actually, and then came back. But when I went back, I kind of really got in touch with my roots and with who I was, got closer to God, and just dude, after that, I was just oh, okay, and and I knew it was kind of the right answer because I finally felt centered, I didn't feel like I was questioning myself. And the songs that I had always written were always kind of along those lines anyway. They were always some kind of folk or something, just any capacity to where I could just be unapologetically myself. That was always what felt right. And I think that was kind of why I didn't feel good making the music that I was making before, because I felt like I was playing a character. And now, I just fucking write. and I know who I am, and I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
As you should be. No, that's good. Sometimes it takes time to figure that out, but
I know who I am.
that's good. No, you were able to figure that out. I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's a perfect segue into the main lesson, which is obviously talking about, you know, what you got going on now. You have a lot going on now, which is really cool.
God,
but
yeah.
especially so, I'm curious for you. You know, when you moved here to go and being a Berklee College student, I'm really curious of like how Berklee. Like you talked a little bit about it being a culture shock, but also you figured out like your sound here. It seems like, or like. Between coming here, going back home, and then coming back, you've sort of like figured out the direction for yourself. And I'm curious, like how Berklee, or even maybe even Boston in general, like how just being here has helped challenge you and like push your career forward, and how, in what ways maybe did the clarity hit you being here and being around I'm sure so many musicians and young aspiring musicians, of everybody trying to. Maybe, I don't want to say do the same thing, but maybe get to a similar sort of place where they're somebody that can contribute to the greater music industry in whatever facet that might be.
Yeah. I definitely hopped around, and I got, you know, all of my different genres out of my system, you know, and there's still some that I love very much and I miss playing. But who knows? Maybe I'll have future projects. But no, I think I've been really lucky. Not fuck luck. I've been blessed to have the people that I have in my life right now. You know, I dropped out because I dropped out of Berklee because I had struggled so long with money and trying to fit in with people, you know, because that's another thing too. Like I thought I was going to come here and find my people and it was going to be easy and everything like that. And no, dude, nobody prepares you for that. Also, dude, sometimes, you know, you fuck up. But sometimes you fuck up and you do shit, and you gotta live with that, you know. And sometimes, like, you know, it's hard being a kid, bro, and living in a world where you're told you're an adult. It's hard feeling like an adult because of what you grew up in, thinking that you're one, and then realizing just how much you don't know. And you know, so anyway, I definitely like hopped from friend group to friend group and stuff like that, and I finally found the people that I found after I dropped out of Berklee. I went home. I was like, fuck this place. I'm never coming back. You know, like, I'll just do the music thing on my own in Kentucky, even though God has somehow gotten me here, kept me here, and like, bro, I was so stupid. I was so stupid for leaving. I did it because I got frustrated. And, you know, I wouldn't take that back. You know, I'm glad I did, because I went home and it was hell. But it was, like, definitely God taking a hammer to the mirror of a person I am and going, and just going, cool, let's fix you again, you know? And then it was like, okay, I'm going back, and I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to throw away any opportunities again. I'm going to, you know, make something for myself and whatever. Yeah, so I met all of these guys in my band. I got 6 members, bro.
Yeah, the band. I want to talk about them too.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
really cool. The Kyle Ray and the Hired Guns band. Is that what you guys are called?
Yeah, I call them the Hired Guns. It's a lot like this fella right here,
Anderson .Paak. Yeah.
Where it's
He's
like
incredible.
The brand is Anderson .Paak, but you know the Free Nationals play with him.
That makes sense.
And that's kind of like I want them to have like their own shtick.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, my face," and then they just shit all over the great fucking players that they.
No, oh my god, of course. There's definitely that's a huge thing, right? Think of any band, right? Dave Matthews Band, for example, right? There's like people know Dave Matthews, but there's no band without the other bandmates. Like, you know what I mean? They have to get that credit as well. So I definitely want to talk to you about your band, but first, before we do that, quick, it's actually time for a pop quiz.
Shit, bro! Oh no, dude! I'm fucking.
Don't say. Listen, we get that reaction a lot. It's not as bad as you think.
I'm about to embarrass the shit out of myself.
You won't, because anybody that's a fan of Kyle Ray or knows Kyle Ray, just being introduced to us for the first time, Pop Quiz is a segment where we ask our guest rapid fire questions, and all the questions have to do with you.
Oh, okay.
They're all about you. So as long as you know yourself, you can't fail.
Bro, I'm watching. All right, bro. All right.
So, some of them might get easy and they might be progressively more, I don't want to say difficult, but just more intricate. This is just some things I found out about you. Nothing embarrassing. It's all good stuff, I promise.
Okay.
But we'll see how
Nothing embarrassing. I know about that time you shit on the floor as a kid, bro.
Well, I didn't know about that.
Hey, bro, that's not true.
Do you want to talk about? Oh, you don't want to talk about the time you shit on the floor?
We can talk
Rick
about
and Morty
that, bro.
style?
We can talk about that. We can talk about that for sure. It's funny as hell.
My first question is, what is the name of? I knew you used to play in progressive metal bands as a drummer.
Holy shit!
What was the name of?
Fucking find this info, bro. All right, bro.
I don't reveal sources on there.
Okay.
What was a name of one progressive metal band that you played in?
Oh no, bro. Wait, no, I know which one you're talking about. How the fuck did you find that, bro? Oh,
I love it.
My fucking God, bro.
I love
this
that.
was literally oh, dude, this is literally bro. Erebus. The name of the band was Erebus.
That's my favorite reaction, by the way, to pop quiz is when I get, how'd you find that out? It makes me happy,
bro.
So I'm glad we got that on number one.
Nardwar over here, bro.
Trying my hand at like something.
We have to know.
You're Kyle Ray. We have to know. No, I'm going for more of a. I don't do the Nardwar thing. I'm going for more like a Sean Evans Hot Ones.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Okay,
Style.
yeah.
He's somebody that I definitely admire. Well, Nardwar too, for sure. I mean, they're both like the pioneers when it comes to interviewing and finding out information that But hey, I got my ways.
That Sean has like an excuse to just torture celebrities.
It's great.
It's fucking
It's
awesome.
incredible.
Everybody.
I had to find my own way to do it.
Yeah.
And pop quiz is like one of those things where it's like
it's getting there, bro.
Well, it's not quite hot wings because it's like you're not something you're maybe it's even worse because it's like a mental thing where it brings you back to the time you might have had a bad pop quiz you failed and you're like, oh no, because I get that reaction probably 7 to 8 times out of 10 where I tell an artist it's time for a pop quiz and they're like, what the fuck? Yeah. So they don't really enjoy it.
I just can't get over the Erebus thing. This is okay. So this is so funny, dude. I think I literally told. I have told like my old man, like I told my old man, like, dude, one day I'm gonna like make it big enough where people are gonna find that shit. And I was like, and that's the day that I'm gonna fucking like I did not expect it to be this soon,
came
bro.
a little bit earlier.
Dude,
so when was
nobody.
this? When was this? When you were in this progressive? Was it early in your life?
So I was a freshman in high school.
Oh, okay.
Bro, this is so funny. I was so my brother-in-law's brother.
Okay.
Which I think technically is still my brother-in-law. I don't know how that works.
Something like that.
Something like it. Whatever. He had a band. He had like this. He was cutting an album, and it was one of the first studio time I had ever had in my entire life. And oh my God, I can't believe you found this out, dude. I was 15 years old. I had been playing drums, I think, for 2 years, a year.
Okay.
Going on 2 years, and drum set for going on 2 years. So I was quite shit. I was quite shit, and my brother-in-law's brother, his name is Dawson. He's like the guitarist of that band. And he was like, hey man, like we're gonna cut like he's like, I'm gonna cut this album, like would you like to would you play drums for me? He's like, I can pay you some money. And I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, dude, getting paid to record at a studio, I'm making it, I'm doing it. And he was like, yeah, it's prog metal. And I was like, cool, dude. I love, because I was listening to that shit at the time. I was not studying it. Mm-hmm. And it's evident in that album that I wasn't studying it, which is crazy. Because he was like, yeah, okay. He's like, I'll pay you this much, and like, it's in a week. And I was like, cool. I was like, how many like songs are we doing? Like 2? And he was like 12. And I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, yeah, just send me. He's like, yeah. He was like, I was like, just send me like demos or whatever, and like we'll record them. And he's like, no, we'll just get together and practice. And I was like, sweet. And so like he sets up one practice right before the studio session. 12. We practiced 12 songs in like 2 hours, and then we went to the studio the next day. And it's so funny because I was 15 at the time. I had quit smoking cigarettes, and I had switched to vaping. Because I've been smoking since I was like fucking 7, bro. But I like I I had him take all of the money that he was paying me and just spend it on mango jewel pods. And yeah, we went in that studio and cut some of the most horrendous drum parts I've ever heard in my life. And I've rued the day that has come out, because it's just like, I was like, what do you want here in this section? And he was like, and I was like, do you want another blast beat? And he was like, yeah. And I was just like, dup, 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 and it's just not clean, and not even like a blast beat, really. It's just like, I literally bought a double bass pedal for that exact reason.
For that exact thing.
for that exact fucking album. And I had never touched one before, so I just took a week and just shed and tried to get my left foot up, and it's just so evidently not to the same speed that my right was. And so, yeah, it's just the most horrendous sounding shit ever, but it was such a good experience. It was fun. It was just fucking terrible, and I was like, good God, that could die. And that could die, that could be buried, and that's it.
Well, thank you for telling the story.
bro.
I'm sorry we had to bring it up, but hey.
Bro, it's hilarious.
That's
I
really
can't believe
good.
that fucking happened, bro.
As a big Dr. Pepper fanatic, right? So we had, weirdly enough, shout out to Z and Cam, didn't really even know that Kyle was coming and that Dr. Pepper was his thing. Brought one himself. We had a 12-pack going over there. I don't even drink the stuff. And I was over there the other day, and I'm like, oh, wow, we got Dr. Pepper. Perfect in time for Kyle to show up.
Right.
Which is actually kind of funny, too. So my sister-in-law, or my soon-to-be sister-in-law, actually works for Dr. Pepper, believe it or not. So
well, I'll be damned, bro.
I know, right? I said the same thing too. She actually is, as of recording this, she actually just got back in town. She lives in Texas now.
Hell yeah, dude! Shout out sister.
Shout out Alexa.
And law.
So what iteration of the brand is the best? I know you like the original, but is there another flavor in the Dr. Pepper world that you like? Or is it just the original?
It's just a classic, man. I'm a classic guy. I'm the kind of guy that goes to an ice cream shop and gets vanilla. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
it's a good segue into one of my next questions.
Oh, shit, yeah. No, I just like, I've tried them. I tried the strawberries and cream one. That was an L for me.
Okay.
I think it's still, I think Dr. Pepper is a top tier brand and would love to work with them. Ooh. But, yeah, no, I'm a classic guy. I just love that shit so much. It's like not even a joke. I think a lot of people think it's a joke, and it's like, nah, genuinely.
It's not a shtick. It's real. Yeah.
Like I dead ass love. Yeah. This is, yeah. It's
like I heard you never you rarely go anywhere without having one in your hand.
Yeah, there's like I'm the guy who brings a fucking canned soda to the party. It's like embarrassing, bro. Like I'm not a party guy.
Hey, you like what you like. It's all good.
You want some cold brewskis?
So I have a cat. Her name's Pearl. She's amazing. And I know you have a cat named Ozzy.
What the fuck is happening, bro?
I'm just saying.
What the fuck are you talking to, bro? Okay.
I'm just letting you know
dude,
that.
It's cool, bro.
What's one trait about Ozzy that makes him unique?
What the fuck is happening, bro? You're really good at your job, dog.
Thank you.
It's crazy. Have you been in my house?
Yeah, no, your family invited me over and made
bro.
me a nice peach cobbler, and it was amazing, even though I'm allergic to peaches.
Yeah,
no, look at it.
You're allergic to peaches?
They tried to poison me. It was crazy.
Holy shit,
I'm just kidding.
bro.
It didn't happen. But.
Dude, that sounds like you're probably asking too many questions. They're like, this guy's suspicious, bro. We gotta kill him. We gotta kill him off, bro. Nah, what's a trait that makes Ozzy?
Yeah.
It's not enough for him to cuddle. He's got to wear your fucking skin.
Yeah.
That brother, oh my God. Yeah. I've always told people, like, if you want an animal that is, like, cuddly, get a girl dog or a boy cat. Boy dogs, they don't like love as much as girl dogs. Mm-hmm. And girl cats, definitely not fucking with you. Definitely not fucking with you, bro.
It's funny you say that because our cat Pearl, well, we had a cat before that, and she like did not want to be cuddled, did not want to be touched, like none of that. Yeah. Pearl is a little bit different, where like she loves my mom. She's like my mom's shadow, just follows her around everywhere, sleeps with her in bed, whatever. But she's so funny because she like when we're doing like family stuff, like she has to be there. Yeah. Like she is a little bit different from that standpoint of like she's also blind, poor thing, or she is now blind. But yeah, it's too bad. But
cat blindness, bro.
It's really tough.
It's running through the city.
It sucks. But she's very sweet, very affectionate, very like she's not like your average like girl cat where she can be like, you get away. Like but she is very
Yeah.
trepidatious of people. Like she was a rescue. So
Yeah,
she
this is my statement is a huge generalization.
No, but I do hear you because I've seen other boy
Yeah.
cats, especially like I know like there's even like TikTok accounts that I follow where like the boy cats are definitely more affectionate.
Yeah,
like, it
dude.
feels that way.
And Ozzy will fucking. I put him on the ground, and I like how they got that little divot under their armpits. Bro.
Yeah.
I grab him and I fucking just spin him around in a circle.
And he just like
doesn't give a shit.
Doesn't give a shit.
Just grab him. I can hold him like this, put him above my head.
Just loves it.
Yeah, bro. He just loves love,
it.
bro. He's a hopeless romantic.
And I think cats get a bad rep. I think
Oh,
cats
yeah, for
are
sure.
way, and not to say that like dogs aren't great because they are, but
Fucking love dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some people I think there's a clear misconception that cats are just awful, evil little animals. What do you think is one negative misconception people have about cats that bothers you the most, or maybe just you think people just don't get right all the time when it comes to cats?
Man.
For me, not to just say my thing, I like that with most cats you have to actually like gain their trust in order for them to like be affectionate. Like that's I actually appreciate that about cats.
Yeah, I think people think that like cats don't like. I think that's the generalization that I have a problem with is like cats, like people think that like cats are kind of assholes because they don't show affection or whatever, and it's really just like, bro, there's such an animals are so, which I grew up around so many fucking animals.
I believe
I love dogs as much as I love cats, as much as I love fucking anything else. But it's with cats, like they're just a different animal, bro. Like you can't treat a fucking cat like a dog and expect it to be cool with you. Like my cat acts like a dog because of the way that like I just shower him affection. Dude, get a kitten, get them while they're small. Fucking love on them all the time. Squeeze their paws when they do biscuits and it fucking hurts you too much. They'll retract their claws and they're chilling, bro. Like it's so easy to train them. And yeah, I think that's the one thing. It's like, oh, dude, I fucking hate cats because they're so blah, 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 blah. And all. It's just like, bro, if you walk into my house, like my cat is not going to leave you alone. He's just up your ass 24/7. I can't take a shit or a shower. I was just showering this morning, and there's like the curtain. And then the water curtain, he's like fucking walking the tub in between. Just like sitting staring at me. And I'm like, dude, fucking go somewhere.
I need a little bit of privacy, bro.
Yeah, dude.
That's awesome. Well, shout out to cat people.
Yeah,
I think
cat
they get a bad
people.
rap. So we have something in common I don't think you knew. So there's this ice cream place called Richardson's. It's actually right down the street from here. Or, well, kind of. It's in the next town over. And I grew up working there in high school. Yeah. I know you work in an ice cream shop right now, right? Emac and Bolio's?
Yeah, dude.
I know you said you love vanilla ice cream, right?
Yeah, bro.
But my question to you is what's your Mount Rushmore of favorite ice cream flavors? If vanilla's in there, what are the other three?
That's fucking insane, bro. Yeah, I really like I'm not like I've never been like a fancy flavored guy until I started working at like Emac and Bolio's. It's a fucking insane conversation. I think anybody who knows anything about Emac and Bolio's, which is like, dude, that's the one like Boston thing that I feel like I can relate to Bostonians on. Like, dude, oh, you fucking know Emac? They're like, dude, you know about Emac? They're like, dude, everybody here only knows about JP Licks. It's like, what the fuck? Who taught you? Anybody who knows anything about Emac and Bolio's knows about that toasted s'moreo flavor. That is the best flavor that Emac and Bolio's has. Come get some from me. I work on Newberry Street.
Yeah, it's a busy.
I work
busy,
nights,
busy
bro.
event. Come get some ice cream.
Come get some toasted s'moreo.
S'moreo.
And then so I'd probably go vanilla first, toasted s'moreo, and then just Oreo, bro.
Oreo.
Yeah. I'm not a crazy feller when it comes to that. I don't really like sweets that much, despite I get all my
Despite
sugar.
the dessert comment earlier.
Yeah, despite that, I just have hard opinions about it because I'm an asshole. I get all my sugar from my drinks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got enough
Right.
for the Dr. Pepper
I'm
to
like,
last you enough,
yeah,
right?
I'm such a dick about that. I'm like, this is just too sweet of a dessert. 12th one of the day, bro. Yeah, dude.
Is there a flavor of moonshine better than apple pie?
Dude, yeah, no.
That's it.
Maybe lemon drop.
Lemon drop.
Lemon drop is real good. I don't know if that one's as common as. I don't think it's common at all. I think my mama makes that. I could be wrong. I don't know much about other people's moonshine, believe it or not, because my family doesn't make moonshine. My family makes moonshine. My family makes moonshine. It's really good. So I haven't had any reason to drink anybody else's or know anything about anybody else's. But my mama's recipes are always real good. And
that apple pie flavor is like
dude,
a flavor she makes a lot, right?
Dude,
Yeah.
that apple pie is so fucking good. It's dangerous.
Oh,
It's
I believe it.
actually fucking dangerous because like you'll drink it and you're just like, this does not taste like alcohol, let alone moonshine. Like you got you a jug of
I've had
clear.
some rough moonshine.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, has it had a tax label on it?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was sometime in college, so I probably don't remember.
If
but
you guys like, don't let your opinions of moonshine be from the shit that you can buy here. I'll say that much.
I believe it. No,
Yeah.
no, that's why I'm asking about
Yeah.
moonshine, because it's like not something that I'm super
Yeah.
knowledgeable. I've had it literally one time in my life.
Yeah. Anything that you buy, anything that you can buy from a store ain't worth buying. I'll say that.
Okay. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
like all of the. It's funny because my Uncle June, who's sick as fuck, dude. I wish you could interview him because he's just awesome. But he knew the guy who, you know, the fucking moonshine. There's a moonshine brand that's in the stores right now, and it was a recipe that the original recipe was owned by my Uncle June's friend.
Okay.
Or just some guy he knew. It may not have been friends, whatever. It might just have been a fucking acquaintance or a rival family or something.
Whatever it was.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was his recipe, and then he sold it to Dolly Parton, I'm pretty sure. And then she sold it to somebody. She either sold it to somebody else or it's hers. I don't really know anymore. But that's the one that's in stores right now.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's kind of like crazy to see that recipe. Mine's not sold in stores at all, and it's fucking really good.
You got to go to Kyle's.
Yeah, dude, come on and see us.
Gotta go to Kentucky and get that at home. So I have actually one of the artists that I manage. He is day to day. He's a tree climber. So he has all this information about trees, and I know you have a very interesting knowledge about trees. So I'm curious to know what's one random fact about trees that you think the average person doesn't know.
Oh man. It's fucking insane, bro. These questions are blowing my mind. Yeah. A fact about trees that nobody knows. There's nothing that smells better than fresh cut pine. And like I understand now, like so growing up I always kind of like I never understood like things that smell like pine. It's a lot like grape flavored things. It doesn't smell like grape.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't taste like grape. Like
Right.
it just has its own flavor. Things that smell like pine still kind of smell like pine, but they don't fucking smell as good as like a freshly cut pine tree. And then also, if you get that sap on your hands, just fucking pour some gasoline on your hands. That's what I always did. Just like
Oh, see, that always would drive me nuts when I never know how to get that sap off.
it'll dry your skin off. You got it. So you got to be like careful about it. But I mean, if you work in tree business, that's not.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not.
I hike a lot. Sometimes if touch a tree accidentally, get a little
Yeah.
sap on. Like it's happened to me before, and I'm like, dude, I can't get this off for like fucking hours. It was annoying.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I mean, like it'll even get to the point where it's not sticky anymore, but it'll leave like these marks,
Yeah.
and it's all over you. It coats you. Yeah, it's a real pain in the ass. But like nothing smells as good as that. And that, yeah, I remember that day so vividly. Like, because I was working when I dropped out of college here and I moved back home. I was working for the tree service, and we had this like, this is not the first time I've ever cut pine, but I guess, bro, this one tree, because we had cut it from the base, chopped it up, and so it was bleeding, which is what sap is, by the way. It's just the tree's blood, but it's just like, bro, it was. I was picking it up, and like it almost like makes it where you're like, I'm fine getting covered in this shit, because you're just like, ugh, bro.
It smells so nice.
Yeah, dude, it's so fucking good.
Very cool. My last question to you was maybe the best nature experience you've ever had. Like personally for me, like I've always recollecting being in the Smokies was incredible. That was probably one of my highlights. But for me, it was climbing Mount Washington was always like my highlight of just that hike. For anybody in New England or anyone that's done that hike, just knows, like, especially if you take the Tuckerman's Ravine up, like you're above tree line for like 2.5 miles of like the last leg of that, which is amazing because normally when you get to a summit, you're not really above tree line until you almost get to the summit, versus like Mount Washington. It's so beautiful. So I'm curious, like, what's been, over your life, what's been maybe like your highlight of like you being in nature or something that like you like won't forget?
There's a couple of things that like kind of stand out the same to me. So all of my experience in Appalachia and all of that I know about it is from my mama's side of the family that lives in Virginia, which Western Virginia, not West Virginia. They live in a place called, I'll say for their privacy, I'll just say Duffield County.
Got it.
Yeah, Duffield, near Duffield, on the outskirts of it. But anyway, they're deep in the mountains. There's this road, so everything's like fucking forever away. If you want to go to the grocery store, you got to drive an hour just to get to the grocery. But so definitely not a lot of shit around there to do. But there's street signs and all of the roads. You've driven Appalachia, so you know how windy and curvy they are, right? All of the roads, have these signs everywhere that kind of warn you about the really extreme curves and whatnot.
Yeah.
And just shit like that, right? But like that's the one thing that state always stays on top of. Otherwise, people just die, right? So you can steal those signs. And there was this bridge, man. And me and my sibling, at the time it was just me and my older sister, and my cousins. We all went out and we stole a bunch of these signs. And there was this creek that ran underneath this bridge, and we. It wasn't like too deep or anything. It was just kind of like clear water, whatever. Anyway, we built a pocket in the water. It's like a circular thing, so that when fish would come through, they'd go down deep, lay their eggs, and then go on, right? And so they'd put spawn there. Anyway, so we took the signs and rocks that we had stolen and like bent them in a way to create that pocket, and it's still there to this day. But yeah, when I was young, like I used to take a Coke bottle, like the mini Coke bottles. Yeah, we had those, and I'd poke a hole in the top and like put a string, like a piece of fishing line, put a like sinker to hold it at the top, like tie the knot, then put the sinker on so it wouldn't slip through the hole in the Coke bottle. Screw the cap on, and then put a hook on the line, and then dig up a worm, put it on there, and you toss the bottle into that little pocket, and it wouldn't flow off or go anywhere, right? It would just kind of sit in that little pocket, and it would act as a bobber, so you knew when you had something on it. No way. You'd go over there and just pick up the bottle. That's smart. Yeah, you just pick up that bottle, and like you'd take that fish that you caught, and with no salt or no pepper or nothing, you were proud that you did it, right? But you don't kill anything for no reason. If you kill it, you gotta eat it. That's just those are the rules, right? Absolutely. So you cook it over a little campfire and feel real cool. Pretend to be Rambo or whatever. But so there's that one. I really love that one. I'll never forget that. I did that. I did the fish thing by myself. But it did. There was also another time I stole a keg from an old man with my sister and my cousins. We stole a fucking keg and his golf cart. And we were on a river, and I think he was flirting with my Mimi, which is my mom's mom. He was busy flirting with her, so we stole his fucking keg and his golf cart and drove it to this giant bridge. I think it's one of the tallest. It's one of the tallest bridges in Virginia, and we drove on top of that full moon, beautiful, man. We're sitting on there. Here I am, like 10 years old. This is crazy. I was 10 years old, sitting on the edge of the bridge looking down, just drinking straight from the keg. It's like one of those little mini kegs, you know, those like plastic ones that are like this big. Yeah. You just load it up, and it's got the attached hose. And I was just sitting there drinking, looking over the edge, dangling my feet. Could have fucking died, but like we got in so much trouble for that. We got so much trouble for that.
I believe it.
Pick a switch. Yeah.
Well, that was Pop Quiz with Kyle Ray. That was a lot of fun. That was very good.
Yeah, bro. That was fucking insane. It was like, holy shit.
I knew a little bit more than he thought I knew. That's okay.
Yeah,
that, like I said, nothing.
I didn't know anybody.
You
knew
incriminated
anything about
yourself. I said nothing embarrassing, nothing incriminating, and there you are. I said, I basically incriminated yourself a couple times.
Oh
so
yeah, dude. Fuck it. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Hey, it's all good. Statute of limitations. So I want to talk about back to the main lesson. Talk about the band.
Yeah.
Because I've heard you have a few interesting stories about how you met everybody in the band, particularly your guitar player, Henry. Yeah. I've heard that the first time you guys hung out, you went to some kind of a martial arts class together. Yeah, you were just like punching each other, which does feel like a weird way to be like, hey, you want to be in a band? Here's a right hook. Yeah, dude. So does that top the best story in terms of like meeting your bandmates, or is there one or two that may be a bit better than that?
There are a couple funny ones, but I think that one's probably the best.
That's the best.
Yeah. Like so I was just like in the right place at the right time, and Henry fucking was living in the dorms at Berklee at the time in 160, and he just opens the door really fast while I was walking down the hall, almost hits me with it, and I was like, oh shit, my bad, man, and whatever, and we started talking, and then like sure enough, like fucking we ended up like walking around and hanging out for a while, and I was like, hey man, like I'm actually about to go to this martial arts club. Like I had never been either. It was going to be the first day that I went. I was like, do you want to come? And he was like, he's like, fuck it, why not, bro? And so like we went, and like in the first 6 hours of us like meeting each other, we're throwing full-fledged punches and kicks at each other. Henry's like 6'6".
Oh, so he's much bigger.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if he's 6'6". He's like high 6 feet, right? That brother is fucking huge. Like, he is so big. I am 5'11", 6 foot on a good day, and like skinny, you know. And he's just like, he's looking me dead in my eyes, and he's like, I don't want to hit you. And I was like, throw hard or I won't learn. Like I was like, throw the punches as hard as you can or I won't learn. And so like, and then like a couple days later, we ended up getting a few drinks at a bar and shooting pool. And I was like, hey man, like, I need a guitarist for my band. Like, do you? And he's like, yeah, sure. And that's kind of how that happened.
Super cool.
And then another kind of funny one was Simon, my mandolin player. He it was actually funny. It was the night. It was so our first ever single release. If It's Taxed, It Ain't Shine. Yeah.
Love that song, by the way.
Thank you.
Really great song.
Thank you.
It's out now on all streaming platforms. Just so we got it linked in the description. Don't go anywhere yet. We still got a little bit left with Kyle, but yeah. Just wanted to let everybody know that is his music is linked in the description. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Simon.
Yeah, Simon. So it was the day that we were cutting that record in the studios, and I was like, man, this song absolutely needs mandolin. I was like, and I called Alan, my producer, up about it, and I was like, hey man, like, I gotta go home. Like, so it was like 2 p.m. Our recording session was from 12 to 4 a.m. And I was like, man, I got to go home after my classes and like try and write a Mando line or something, man. Like I was like, I can't play that one. I can't play that instrument anywhere as close to good as Simon. Simon's a fucking monster, bro. But his parts made that song, bro. But I was like, I gotta figure this out. And he was like, all right, man, yeah, just keep me updated or whatever. And I was like, all right. So I had gone through my daily like routine of like waking up and, you know, getting my fucking coffee, you know, and sandwich or whatever, bro. And went to my classes and was like, normally I would immediately leave. I like want off the campus as soon as I'm done with classes. I don't like fucking around. But I was like, all right, whatever. I got my coffee and God was just like, bro, you got to go back. Like he was like telling me to go to the pool room, which is where I hang out. And I was like, all right, man. What? I was like, I don't know why. Sure enough, I walk in there and there's Simon playing his mandolin. Crazy. And I was like, I never had seen him in there before. And I was there like almost every day. I'd never seen him there before, and he's sitting there playing his mandolin, and I didn't even ask him his name. I was like, what are you doing tonight from 12 to 4? And he was like, oh, I've got class. And I was like, no, brother. I was like, 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. And he was like, nothing, I guess I'm free. And I was like, you want to play Mando on this song? And he was like, oh, on this song I'm cutting tonight. And he was like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. So that brother walked in, no knowledge of the song. There wasn't a good demo at all. Like, he just showed up. We rehearsed it for a bit, and he just laid down these fucking perfect parts on that song, and it was nuts. So it's what made it, and yeah, he's been in the band ever since.
It's a really good part.
Yeah,
I should say piece of the composition.
Yeah,
I think that mandolin really is an
he's
awesome part.
The glue for a lot of the tracks. He's just so good. He's like he's the closest to mastery, I think, out of all of us in the band, of their perspective instruments. Like, he's just so fucking nasty with it.
I really like when bands have another instrument that's a little bit that's outside of the traditional drums, bass, guitar, right? Like, there's a band I really like called Ripe. I believe they're actually Berklee guys as well. From a while ago, though. I think they've much moved on.
Sounds familiar.
Since. Yeah, they do more of like funk, jazz, but they do they have a lot of trumpets in there. Like some of their members really do like all the brass, like the trumpet, and that's like an element I think that really not only makes them unique, but I think just makes them a little bit more I don't know. I gravitate more towards it just because it's like a little bit different than what I normally would hear from like just a regular. I don't want to say regular band. I don't mean that in like a negative way. There's nothing wrong with the traditional four-piece
regular band.
Fuck the regular 4-piece band with a vocalist and a bassist, guitarist, and drums.
You fucking lame, bro.
I think that's awesome though. That you added that element, because then I think it also fits to like completely the direction you're trying to go with the sound. So that's really cool. And so you guys have 2 singles out. Yeah. If It's Taxed, It Ain't Shine, and The Band of Robbers. Yeah. Yeah. And you guys have so many exciting things going on too, especially with Bourbon and Beyond happening in September 19th and 29th to the 22nd. And then it seems like you fly back immediately for the Angel Olsen show. Yeah. On the 23rd, which is kind of a crazy, like, weird. So I will say before this, like, I know you're a man of faith, very, very religious, whatever. I'm more of a spiritual person. Like, I don't really assign myself to any sort of like totally religion, faith, whatever. But I still believe in like that divine intervention of some sort. And it just was so weird when our first call that all 3 of us had, me, you, and Violet, where you're talking about, I really want to talk about opening.
Uh-oh. Word.
That one, that's all right. That went out. That was the B camera. We're almost done. So I'm not a man of... I'll restart that. So I'm not like a man of faith like you in the same sense of like I am more spiritual than I am like assigning to any sort of religion. It's not how I grew up, and that's just
totally fine, bro.
No, I believe it. No, I'm not saying... I didn't think you would...
Let me stab you right now, dude. No, like, you're fine, bro.
But I do agree in divine intervention in that way, though. I totally do. Yeah. And it was so funny with the first time we were having a conversation on our video call was like, you were like, oh yeah, and I really want to, when we get on, I really want to talk about the fact that we're opening up for Angel Olsen. I was like, oh yeah, where is that? And you're like, oh, that's at the Cabot Theater in Beverly. Are you familiar with Beverly? And I'm sitting there going, bro, the Cabot is literally down the street from my fucking studio, bro. And I remember you two looking at each other. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah, dude. I'm like, I shit you not. My studio is literally down the street from there. So that was crazy. Yeah. That was crazy. Nuts, bro. So whatever you fucking believe in, even if you're atheist, I don't know. The universe just works in the universe, God, whatever you believe in, it just works in very mysterious ways. Good. That was beautiful. And I was like, okay, well, we're meant to do this podcast. Yeah, bro. This is really cool. Yeah. So anyway.
You're blowing my fucking mind right now with these questions. So, it's been fun.
It has been a lot of fun. But these are two huge milestones for you, right? Yeah. Opening for an artist of Angel Olsen's stature, and then Bourbon and Beyond, which is like, you've said off air a little bit earlier, we were talking like, if not the biggest, one of the biggest music festivals in all of Kentucky. Yeah. So talk to me about what that string of just a couple of days is going to be like, and how, not only that, but I think for you, like, with so much excitement around it, so much of just like these milestones hit, like, how are you best going to try to just be in the moment as much as possible, and then having to then go to the next one as well, like having there not be almost like that much time in between to reflect, like how are you going to do your best to like just enjoy that as best as you can, and then also talk to me a little bit like how much it means to you, of course, in both facets.
No, well, to start with how much it means, the world, you know, I think it's kind of nuts. You know, I never thought that I mean, it's on the path and on the road of everything. You're always like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna make it one day, and then like shit starts to finally like kind of happen, and you're like, whoa, wait, you know, I was right, you know, like not that I've made it, but it's crazy because this will actually be the first performance that my family has seen me do since I left for college.
I was about to ask that part of it too. Like that's gonna be really cool, I'm sure, for them. Like full circle moment.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah,
because the last time I played a live show, I think I was like 17 or something.
Wow.
I'm 22. It's been like 5 years since I've played a live show, and my family's been there to see me on a stage. And it went from, I think the last time they saw me play a live show was at a bar, and now I'll be on, stage at Bourbon and Beyond. Yeah. And so it's kind of that's crazy. And there's a lot of my family members too that are coming from, the other states, whether it be Ohio or Virginia, Tennessee, coming to see me. And it's just really special. And I'm just real grateful for that. And in terms of like how I'm going to be present for that, that's a hard one because I've never played a show that large before. I think the Angel one, I'll be like, okay, this is a little bit normal. Like in terms of like, because I'll have just come off of playing Bourbon, which I think is going to be much bigger than the Angel Olsen show. And but I think preparation. Just like, my old man used to say growing up, like, greatness occurs when preparation meets opportunity. And so I've kind of just carried that with me. And in terms of, like, being present, I've spent a lot of the time this summer specifically. It's a lot of the shit I was talking about earlier that I was going through in May. Just kind of, like, learning to be present. Learning to be okay with things and learning to enjoy a blessing while I've got it, because I've always been like so focused on the next thing and getting through, because I'm kind of used to shit not working out for me, right? I'm used to kind of fucking up, learning the hard way, and then like readjusting and trying again. Shit's starting to work now, and like I'm kind of catching myself. I was catching myself not paying attention to that. And, who the fuck am I to let a blessing go, unseen and unexperienced? So I think, I've been much better about that recently. It's going to be hard to combat the, like, want to freak out on stage. Mm-hmm. But, I'm also very tough on the guys and, and on myself. And, like, I'm like, this is everything we're doing to a T at every show that we do. Like, everything's kind of planned out in terms of like, not to an extent, we're not like, talking the same shit or like reading scripts on stage, but like, that's kind of the thing about live shows is man, it's like, it's a tough business, and you have to limit the amount of variables that you possibly can. It's like, if you are paying money to see me for whatever reason right now, then it is my responsibility to give you the best product I can give you. And so, part of that is being authentic and just kind of saying whatever comes off my brain, because God knows I can barely remember my fucking lyrics, let alone a script. So, but one thing that, we can't deal with is like, or like we have to minimize the amount of shit that goes wrong, is like stuff with sound, moving around on stage, where we're going to stand, blah, 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 just shit like that. So I think a lot of it is just, prepping and being present. I think I will take a second though to just kind of look at everything and be like, this is fucking wild.
I'm at Bourbon and Beyond.
Yeah.
That's first off, just I'm happy for you to have these things to look forward to, these experiences coming up, and
I appreciate it.
I genuinely hope that it is just the beginning and just you scratching the surface, and that's really it's a beautiful thing that you're able to share that moment with your family and the people back home. That's going to be incredible, and then for you to then come back here and do probably one of the biggest shows you guys have, at least solo shows that you guys have done. Not so much like festivals are obviously a different thing, but just like that's going to be amazing. So if you are in the area and if tickets are still available, hopefully they still are. Kyle's saying they're close to sold out, but September 23rd at the Cabot in Beverly. Make sure you check out Angel Olsen with Kyle Ray and his band, who will be opening for her. Kyle, this has been a really amazing interview podcast episode. Like, I am
thanks
so
for having
stoked.
me.
No, and like, listen, again, shout out to Violet for even having me you on my radar. You know what I mean? It was really cool to get to know you a little bit through this process, but also like for myself, like I said, like I was telling you when we walked in, just I think it's good to expand my palette and always expand not only the palette but just the type of people that I talk to on a daily basis, because like you said, I think it's important for us to, especially in these times, to try to come together and understand each other more than ever. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
It's just that's I think the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I think music is a great way to do that. It is. I say this to people all the time. No matter what the fuck's going on in the world, like it's so nice to just come in within these walls and come in this door and just either have a great conversation with a dope musician, or to work on a video project or some of clients' projects, or work on music. It's just really, it's escaping, and it's also like, a way in which we can just push our humanity forward in a positive way, whatever way we can. So.
Or just, a lot, a lot of that shit too is like, most of the time it's it's either all of that deep shit, or sometimes it's just like, dude, let's just fucking chill the fuck out, bro. Like, let's just not think about shit for a hot minute, bro.
Yep, I completely agree. It's sometimes a nice thing to escape from. But we can't let you go quite yet. Our last question that we do, this is the open response.
This fucking guy.
This is the open him and his thoroughness. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Should have asked me why I got my name and So how did you start singing? I'm really curious. What was the first time you sang a note? No, dude. This is the open response. And sorry. This is the open response.
Joe Rogan podcast, bro.
I know, this is going to be fucking 16 hours straight. Yeah. Not that thorough. I like to live somewhere in the middle there. This is the open response. In the open response, we do the dream song scenario. So, dream song scenario. So you get to create a song with any artists and producers, instrumentalists, dead or alive. So I'll structure it for you. You get. So normally we do it with a lot of vocalists. We don't have a lot of people come in that are focused with bands. So we have more like singers, songwriters, rappers, whatever. So normally how I structure it is you get a song. It's a Kyle Ray song, and you get 1 to 2 producers and 3 guest features. Now, for yours, we can do a little bit different. We can, add a few instrumentalists, and then if you would like a guest vocalist on that song or a handful of guest vocalists, you can also have that. So, who would, maybe you could chorus outside your band. Your band's incredible. We know that. But if there was a specific person you wanted on the song for like drums, for example, like a certain recording artist that you would love, like. Say again?
John Bonham on drums.
John Bonham on drums. Okay, so I'll just let you go. So, who would be on each instrument, and how many people would you have, featured on that song as vocalists? Again, it can be dead or alive, so anybody. And I'll give you as much time as you need. Go for it. Structure this song.
Okay, for sure, John Bonham on drums.
Okay.
That man's a fucking powerhouse. Watch me pull literally all of the fucking members of Zeppelin. What if I'm just like, yeah, dude, fucking, for a song I wrote back in 72 called Stairway to Heaven. Yeah. No, or 76, sorry. That might not be accurate. Whatever, bro.
Somewhere in the 70s.
Dude, this is the one time I don't have that shit like fucking
It's okay.
Available.
It's all right. Don't worry.
I'm going to get
worry.
clowned.
No, don't be. It's okay. It was well beyond our time. It's before our time. We can't be at fault for not remembering when Zeppelin dropped.
Yeah. Nah, John Bonham on drums.
Okay.
Piano, bro. Who do I want on piano? I forgot his fucking name. I'll go. Okay, are we talking songwriting? Like we writing a song together, or we are just playing a song that I wrote?
We'll go with the second one. It's playing a song that you
Okay.
wrote, or whatever. However, you know what? It's your dream song. You do it however you want.
All right, bro.
I don't care.
I'll
I
write
don't
the
care.
song alongside.
The rules are loose.
All right, bro. I'll write a song alongside Robert Plant,
Ooh, that's cool.
Jack, and Jackson Brown. I'll have Skinner's piano player,
Okay.
Leonard Skinner. I forgot his name. Sorry. That's so bad. As a Southerner, I should know. Guitar. Acoustic guitar, possibly Billy Strings.
That'd be cool.
Um,
Billy Strings is cool.
fucking electric guitar. Ooh, this is good. It's just such a fuck fest. I'm just naming like
No,
my
it's-
favorite guys.
Yeah. Well, that's the point. It's like
Right.
it's a dream song, so it
Right.
should work. You know, in
Doesn't
theory.
matter if it sounds like shit or not, dude.
That's what everyone says. Like,
Yeah. Electric guitar, dude. We'll go. We'll go fucking. I think we'll go. We'll go Eddie Van Halen.
ooh.
I feel like he's a good one, bro.
Yes, sir.
Dude, on on bass, I have to have John Paul Jones. I'm just gonna lock in my fucking
That's a nice.
my rhythm section, bro. Zeppelin's rhythm section.
Yeah.
Some vocalists, bro. Aretha Franklin.
Ooh.
This is gonna sound like this is the worst song ever. Aretha Franklin, fucking what's another, bro? I'm cooking right now. Hold on. Aretha Franklin. I'd also write the song. I forgot to mention this. I'd also write the song around Glenn Campbell. I'd write the song with Glenn Campbell. I think he's the greatest fucking songwriter of all time. Aretha Franklin, fucking, what's another vocalist, bro? Brian Wilson. I think he's a fucking genius. From the Beach Boys. I'm an eclectic mess, bro. And you know what, bro? We'll just stick with that.
We'll stick with that.
We'll
I
stop
think
it there, bro.
That's a
Because
pretty.
it could go on.
That could-
I'm just gonna start listing literally every respectable musician throughout history. Like, let's start with the Drifters. Let's start with the Gap Band. It's
Ooh,
like,
love the Gap Band.
dude, fuck
good.
outstanding.
Girl, you knock me up.
Yeah, come on now.
All right,
bro.
I can't believe we finished with that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
the
I
Gap
was
Band's one of my dude. Gap Band's fantastic.
Gap Band fuck,
Oh,
bro.
so good. They really do.
So good.
Oh, Kyle Ray, everybody. That was a fucking awesome episode. I'm really stoked about that. How this went, and like I said,
the country dude. They're like, why is he singing? What the fuck does he know about the Gap Band, bro?
oh, listen. I put nothing past you, my friend. Well, now that is all that's left to do, Kyle, is to plug away, let the people know where they can find you. Anyone else you want to shout out? Now would be the time.
All right, dude. Shout out Alan Hester, my producer. Simon, he's my mandolin player. Henry, guitar. Malcolm, banjo, and any other instrument that I need him to play. Juan on drums. Ben Rachmanov on bass. And that's it for the band. Violet, I love you. Thank you for everything that you do and continuously busting my ass. And I will try to post more on social media before you yell at me. I know.
Well, plenty from this.
Bro,
So.
hopefully, bro, because she's on my ass. Yeah, shout out. Most importantly, to the big man upstairs. Fucking, excuse the language. We're still learning, bro. Yeah, J-Man upstairs, and you guys can find me on Instagram and TikTok, primarily at Kyle Ray _music. You can find my music on Spotify. Just look up Kyle Ray, and I think it's like the one guy with a mullet on there. Yeah, and then Yeah, dude. YouTube, Kyle Ray _music as well.
Congratulations, everything.
Dude, thanks
you
for
got
having me, man.
Of course. No, this was really, really cool. Refreshing for me, for sure. If you're a fan of Kyle Ray, just being introduced to us for the first time, you can follow us at Turntable Teachers on Instagram and TikTok. Hit up our website, turntableteachers.com, for all the latest. And then, of course, if you're an artist, podcaster, or content creator of any kind, make sure to reach out to us at aoastudios.org to book your session or service today. Once again, I'm Mike. That's Kyle Ray with the Turntable Teachers.
Yeah.
And class is officially dismissed.
Turntable teachers.